are oppressed. We are exploited. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
How great I am.
If you're some man of the rock,
You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
Let us sing forever. Let us play forever.
Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside.
Ways.
Welcome back to another episode of Ways. We are the realest podcast in the world. I'm your host, Osama.
And I'm Mohammed. For today's episode, we have two amazing people all the way from Windsor, and they have a podcast, and they're entitled ExpiredMusings, and their platform is all about inspiration, empowerment, and it's all about learning from each other's life stories, and it's all about just taking that time to get insight and clarity from each other, just live a life full of prosperity, encouragement, and just a life of, having fun at the same time, So I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. We were very excited and very thankful. Just let everyone know who you are, where they can follow you, and when do you guys release your podcast on a weekly basis?
Hi, my name's Aman.
And my name's Ragad.
Oh, God. We just do our intro. Hi, guys. Okay, yeah, so we're ExpiredMusings. We usually try to release bi-weekly, but having a 9-to-5 for Ragad and not having a 9-to-5 for me really means that one of us is busy.
Also, we went video recently, so that takes quite a bit of time.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I don't know how people do
I
it.
saw you guys are doing work. I rate it. I saw you guys on your account. You're doing bare work.
Thank
I rate
you.
it.
Yeah, we've been trying to do YouTube and whatnot, and anyways, it's been difficult, but we'll be okay. Anyways, thank you guys so much for having us. We're really excited because this topic is something that Ragad and I discuss on almost a weekly basis, and we really like to share content of this horrendous material to each other also weekly, just to it's nice to watch others burn.
That's our spiel.
I guess to start it off, when it comes to the concept of an alpha male, what is an alpha male in your mind? What do you guys think about when you think of an alpha male?
What do you think, Rahul?
I think of someone that has this portrayal of humans like animals.
Mm-hmm.
They're really a fan of oh, I'm the leader of the pack. I'm the one in control. I have to call the shots.
Mm-hmm. Embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
Yes. I think of it as a very two-dimensional representation of what men think they should be or what society wants men to be. It's really two-dimensional and very ill-representing of individuality and how people actually operate. It's not realistic. What do you guys think?
I guess for myself, one thing I want to get clear is that for any guy listening, we're not trying to say that, because remember, people have different personalities, right? So there's some guys who are very soft-hearted, some guys are very strong personality-wise. So those who have a stern, strong personality, we're not trying to mislabel you as being an alpha male. Just want to get that out of the way, because people listen to a podcast or anything, and they'll take something that you say and misappropriate it, right? So it's a particular kind of person. So for me, when I think about an alpha male, I just think of a person who's just ego-inflated. So therefore, the world is small around him, and his mind is as big as the sky. So therefore, whatever he sees, thinks that's value, deemed fit, works for him and no one else. And because of that, they walk around with the entitledness that makes people only beneficial towards their platform or the idea or understanding at the moment. And it's not right, because obviously these people are very rude, obnoxious, and obviously selfish. And I think when it comes to alpha males, growing up, it's you know what? I have two choices. At the moment, to be cool to a certain kind of people, I got to be tough. I got to be strong. I got to be rude to other people, maybe childhood friends or even girls and stuff. But at least I'm part of a clique, a group, a crew. But as you get older and you mature, you realize that being an alpha male has a negative perception, and also including that gives you a bad representation. So therefore, no one wants to be around you. People associate you with being an asshole, a dick. And if you don't change, you'll find out the hard way. So I think that's what an alpha male is to me at this moment.
Honestly, to add on to your point, I think I can't speak for anybody else, but I think talking about the topic alpha male, a lot of guys who I've dealt with and obviously who I know personally they take confidence and they kind of like make their own, like they as you said, Mo, like it's almost as if they want to be egotistical. They think that they own the world and they're able to belittle other people, which to me it's kind of ironic, because in my head I'm like, if you want to be an alpha male, like that person who, like, for example, like shows leadership and shows like you're bringing up people, that's cool. I rate that, because like that's, I would legit like follow that statement. But people who are alpha males, like I can speak also because I'm Arab. A lot of Arab guys have this problem, like their ego hits the roof if you test them on certain stuff. And also, I think a part of being an alpha male is when someone corrects you, you have an issue with it. It hurts your ego. It's like, oh, how dare this person? Like, who does he think he is? I think a lot of times you have to check your ego and say to yourself, maybe I am wrong in this certain situation. And because a lot of people, like, I used to have a big ego, and more like, we know, like in high school, our egos were huge. Like if someone, and I can speak from experience, because if someone tested me in high school, I would probably have to belittle them or like act. But that's also like that's also an act of like immaturity and obviously being childish, because in my head, I thought my reputation meant more than like how I was viewed amongst my community.
Now I have another question for you guys. So now that we got the idea and conception of what an alpha male is, growing up, did you guys grow around a lot of alpha males, whether it was in school, family, or just at work? Like what was the ideal amount of alpha males were you guys around growing up?
I think in high school, I don't even want to call them alpha males. I think that a lot of men try to portray themselves as like that classic alpha male, but really it was just imbecile behavior. For the most part, I think it was just when I think of like the when I think of the alpha males in high school, I think of like what's the word? Like it's not just toxic. It was almost like
it was just a show.
It was a show. It was delusion, and then there was a lot of like incel behavior attached with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They hated all the women.
Well, they go hand in hand. I think online.
While surprisingly trying to get with all the women.
Yeah, it is a very. It's you're right. It is that weird contrast of being like, I hate women, but please date me.
Yes.
It's well, I think what it is just what it goes down to is it's just like immature, like really strange delusion version of what being masculine is, while there's so many great masculine qualities. And I think that all these like alpha male influencers, I think that there should be influencers that help men with their confidence and help men speak to women better, or help men tackle the dating scene, just not in this way.
No.
Where it's misogynistic and creepy and inhuman to like sit there and be like, you can't trust women, and also you gotta make sure she knows who's boss. Am I right, gents?
Just throw her around.
In
the trash
she belongs to the streets.
Yeah.
I just want to say, from like our generation standpoint, growing up, the idea was nice guys finish last. So if you were a nice guy, respectful, worthy, doing everything that your mother was supposed to teach you to obviously respect women, that's cool. But guess what? You're only the guy that was giving a girl a piece of gum or a pencil and eraser when she needed it. Nothing else. You didn't have the chance to talk to her, go out with her and her friends and stuff. So that one guy who was so overconfident, didn't say anything. Every time a girl would talk to him, just looked the other way, was rude and stuff. They always got the girl's attention. So that idea was in our minds, like, you know what? I got to be like that guy in order to have girls. And when you get to high school, like you said, it just jumps and elevates to another level. And when you realize that, for me, being rude to a girl is the only way for a girl to like me, obviously it is wrong in a guy's standpoint. But at the same time, it's the fact that girls was giving guys attention who are assholes. So therefore, it just creates a misconception for guys who have no idea, who are neutral on what to do. Do I still be who I am? Or do I just be more insensitive towards girls? And I guess I'll just try that, because that seems to be the winning factor at the moment. And I think that has to change as well.
I think it's not even so much that like girls like the attention. I think it's something that we've been told to like from like a young age. Oh, if he's teasing you, he likes you.
That's
and
a very
it's
good
just
point, Ellen.
Yeah, it's just been very much implemented in our society that in order for a woman to feel like wanted, she has to chase,
or you have to like the idea that young men are incapable of actually saying how they feel, and instead go through the route of being like, you know, like teasing you or making fun of you. And the way that we can change that is like the bad boy winning is if we just stop enforcing these stupid
labels, even like nice guy versus bad boy.
Yeah, they're like very archaic
Yeah.
ideas that really should be done by now.
If you're still like holding on to those titles after grade 8,
that's the problem.
You need therapy, maybe.
Straight to therapy.
I agree.
Honestly, I think one thing that I realize is I think a lot of guys, this is like not even about alpha male, I think a lot of guys have this problem. They think that it emasculates some of someone, like you guys spoke about, like certain guys should be developing other younger men. Because like even for me and Mo, we do a lot of speaking events with like youth who are like 18, like 14-year-old youth, and obviously. Because for me and Mo, like for me specifically, I can't speak for Mo. For me specifically, I got no girls in high school. I was always the funny kid. So in my head, I was like, I knew to be respectful because I obviously knew like my mom taught me respect and manners. I would never disrespect anybody if they never disrespected me, because I obviously know people have feelings. But I do see like when it comes to people's ego, for a lot of guys, obviously, it's because they think it's cool. Like for example, I remember in high school, a bunch of our guy friends will be like, "Yo, look at that person! Like, yo, look at what he's wearing." But in your head, I remember like we spoke about in our older episodes, which never came out, and we were talked about the power a guy has to disrespect a girl or a guy just to make himself look cool, just as wrong. Because eventually, even specifically now, like I'm 27, even now these kids, you're on camera, so things are. If you're getting filmed, one day you're in your corporate office and someone wants to get back at you, now it's gonna be like you wish you never said that. So I think a lot of kids think it's okay to like cyberbullying, and I think a lot of guys think it's okay to disrespect someone, but eventually, if you ask yourself, like, yo, if this was my sister, if this was my cousin, if this was like my family member, would you accept it? A lot of guys have double standards, and these guys are probably gonna be like, oh, I'm just saying this. Obviously, I ain't. This is why the realist. This is like I feel like we're so real. My one advice would be, don't just do something to get someone's attention, because you're just gonna look like you're gonna look like so stupid in front of your friends, in front of these girls. Like 10 years down the road, you're gonna be like, why did I do this?
Mm-hmm.
What benefit did you get out of it? Nothing.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Have you guys been seeing all these kind of like this wave of male alpha influencers like Fresh and Fit? There's also Alpha M. Have you been seeing a lot of their content?
Oh, Fresh and Fit podcast, bro. These guys, Fresh and Fit podcast. First, I wish they're hearing this. They're the dumbest idiots in my life, bro. These guys try to certain things. Like I'll listen. I'm like, I understand why they say this, but 90% of the time, you'll listen. Like they had a podcast with Bernie. What's her name? Brittany Jenner, and I guess she said like, why is it okay for you to say certain stuff, but it's not okay for like us to like say how we feel? Fresh and Fit podcast, honestly, bro, they're just like the way they say stuff, it's almost like misogynistic to a certain point. I'm like, bro, you're saying stuff that makes no sense because of your experiences, and you're trying to allow young men to disrespect women. I'm like, bro, and the sad part is like a lot of my Muslim friends who listen to it, or I guess like my religious friends who listen to it, and these guys are really religious. Some of them, they agree. I'm like, bro, like, this is not true. This is not true. And for me, as a guy, I don't allow social media or other people to, like, validate my opinion. Like, I do stuff based off of, like, what I believe is right. And if I'm wrong, by all means, like, you can tell me if I'm wrong, by all means. Because I'm not going to be like, oh, who are you to tell me that? No, because I obviously don't want to do it again if I am wrong. But these guys are obviously, and unfortunately speaking, toxicity wins in the age of social media, in the age of like podcasting, because if you say something which is triggering, you say something which is like,
it definitely gets clicks.
100%. Mo, what about you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it definitely like taps into like a certain like niche community.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you guys have been on Reddit, but there's a whole forum out there.
No, I have no idea.
I think the most dangerous thing about these guys is that they target vulnerable men who are truly struggling with whether it be like confidence, whether it be talking to the opposite sex, whether it be like establishing, I guess, a self of like
identity,
mm-hmm. right? Or like feeling more like a stronger man. And it's really sad because you should be able to go on the internet and get help for things that you want to improve. And then instead you're kind of sucked into this hole of, we're just trying to help men, but truly you're not helping anybody when you dehumanize
the other gender or the other sex.
Exactly. Yeah. And talk about women like they're not humans. Like we're just like this like caricature that you have to like dominate and
control and
appease other men to feel better about yourself. Yeah.
A man like actually taught me like a word the other day called negging.
Yes, I taught her what negging is. Do you guys know what negging is?
I actually don't know what negging is.
You're gonna have to explain it to them.
Yeah. So I was telling Raga, it came up in conversation. I was telling her, oh, like this is like an example of negging, and she's like, what's negging? And I'm like, negging is when it's this tactic that was, I think, started off with pickup artists, which were men that were like, their job was to show you how to pick up women in maybe the early 2000s. And the idea was like, you neg a woman, which means you put her down. So you would say, for example, like, oh, like you would see like a woman at a bar, for example, and you'd be like, oh, do you really think that color's for you? Oh, you really went out with that haircut?
Imagine the fashion police is at the bar.
Yeah. And they keep putting you down. And then every once in a while, they would give you a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
So then the idea is that psychologically, you would start craving this man's attention in particular. And like he's like made himself unforgettable. And after this concept was kind of outed and it became more mainstream, the idea of negging and how horrendous it is, it's so much easier for me to notice it now. And I still see men trying to do that on me. So they would try to give me, it would be like, you know, an insult compliment.
Like, you look disgusting.
Yeah,
you're trash.
Yeah, I hate you. I hope you die.
Yeah.
By the way, love the shirt.
Yeah, I guess you could have that one.
Yeah. So it's this horrible concept, and it has been popularized by a lot of the alpha males. Like, you can't let her think that you like her, dude. You gotta tell her that she's a piece of crap.
Yeah. I think what are they called?
Fresh
Fish and fit, whatever they're called.
Fresh and fit.
Yes.
For context, fresh and fit.
Yes.
Yes.
She has to always be the one that cares more in the relationship than you do. They said, and it's like, are you in a competition? Are you
so childish?
Oh my God. I don't know how anybody takes their stuff seriously. Like, I think it's actually very dangerous behavior.
Yeah. Agreed. But the thing is, for me, like on a secular standpoint or on a religious standpoint, like for example, me being Muslim, I understand what a woman means within Islam, right? So I already know that standpoint, how she should be treated. On a secular standpoint, those guys are just talking about this like fuckboy mentality. So in their head, they're like, yo, you want to get this thing to like you? Like, you have to do this. You have to do that. You have to treat it this way. Unfortunately speaking, like, yes, it does work for certain amount of girls, but I think, in my opinion, like if someone knows their worth, you're not gonna allow, as you guys say, derogatory comments to captivate you. It's like, wow, this guy is like, he likes me. There's a fine line between a guy being too nice and like being too wanting a girl, as opposed to someone who's just like, for example, I realized, like, one of my friends was telling me, this girl was telling me, she's like, we like guys who are like they're to themselves, like they're not showing themselves off, like they're to themselves, they're doing their own thing, because to me that's the guy you want to be with, someone who's like working towards his goal, someone who's not like craving attention from other women. But Fresh and Fit podcast, they want to tell guys, do that talk, like disrespect them, say this, say that. Going back to what you said, like if they're not giving in as much as you are, you should leave them, go cheat on them.
The escalation.
A lot of the stuff they say is just obvious, and I don't think they believe half the stuff they say. I actually don't believe half the stuff they say, to be quite honest with you. In my head, I think they just say it for views.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason why they're still single, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Don't they say they're so contradictory? Like I mind you, I have never actually watched any of their podcasts. I just been watching other people that I like consume their content, and a lot of it has been like, no, like, we believe in the nuclear family, but then they're like shit on wives.
Yeah, and they also think you have to have multiple side pieces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's very, I think you're right with a lot of it probably being like this like rhetoric of falsehoods that creates like an ambiance of I'm a man, you know. And I think that when you come down to it, like, this is just not how people operate.
I don't think this is realistic in the real world. No. If somebody actually acted like this on the street, like just across like my neighbor Joe, I would call the police. Like, this man's a menace to society.
It's so weird to be like, this is how you gotta get him. And it's like, you know what would maybe work better if you learn how to, if you have like a skill or a hobby or a talent that you want to, or a personality or a sense of humor, if you improve like characteristics and you approach women being proud of the things that you have worked on that are actually valuable, instead of being like, I'm going to come up with this whole plan where I'm going to pull up on her.
Also,
call
like,
her fat.
the desperation and like almost like foaming at the mouth, trying to.
We gotta get these hoes to understand.
Of course. And I think that's just one of the dangers about life. If you don't know who you are, someone's going to tell you who you are. And if you can't distinct between the two, you're at fault always. So something like Fresh and Fit is a podcast. Two guys who have a voice and a platform, just like us and you guys as well. So knowing that, it's like you have to understand your influence. Doesn't matter the numbers or the amount of attention or fame. People are going to tune into your voice. They're going to like something about you and ideals. So knowing that your ideology will spew in some way, shape, or form, you have power in that sense. And you have to be careful. So I advise anyone that's, like you said, vulnerable between that age of 13 to 16, because it's tough, because you don't know what to do. The world is so fast.
Yeah.
Everyone's using all these different apps, and you feel as if you don't have like 10 girls on your list, or you're not snapping 5 girls, you're missing out. But to be honest, you're not missing out on anything, because why? You're present, you're living, you're at the moment. So
Let me ask you a question, Mo.
yeah, go ahead.
So obviously you're married, right?
Nice.
That is true.
What's your advice to these guys?
Marriage is cool.
What's your advice to these guys?
Marriage life is cool. It's amazing.
Yeah, man. Listen, I don't know that, but inshallah one day. But anyways, what's your advice to these guys who have this mentality, who are trying to get a ting or a girl or a wife, but they're doing it the wrong way? I want to hear you, because we never really speak about this.
So number one, I'm older, so it's not like I'm 18 and 17, so it's a difference. You don't want a girl, you want a woman. Totally different as far as mindset.
Period.
And what you're after. You want a person that's there for you, that's going to care for you. Not a person that when something happens, she's going to rush to her friends, expose the conversation. At the end of the day, you could be in on it as well, as far as being, just being immature as well. So you have to slow yourself down and figure out what you want. When I was younger, I was like, I want a woman. Obviously, I'm not at the age and stuff, but there will come a time. What is that ideal feminine that I'm after? So write down all the qualities, characteristics that you see yourself going after. And all you have to do is work on yourself, read books, watch videos about what makes you better as an individual, not as a man, as an individual. Because when you're doing that, you're attracting an energy that whatever I'm doing in the world is going to come back tenfold. So you have beautiful attraction, illumination as far as work, personal goals, and all that stuff. But at the same time, that feminine energy that you're yearning for is going to come towards you. You don't know when, where, or how, but when it happens, it's going to be as if it was meant to be. As they always say, like love at first sight, because you are going after that energy. And when you see it in the physical form, you knew that I've been waiting my whole life for you. And when you do that and you stay away from negative outlets, such as podcasts where they spew rhetoric that's totally immature and unrealistic. If two guys live in Miami exposed to girls in a downtown scene that are after ball players, celebrities, and athletes, what makes you think that they're beautiful and qualified to be a wife, that want to settle down and have kids within the 5 to 10 years? If that's not their goal and object, then obviously stay away from those things. Go towards things that's going to make you want to become a man. It might not sound fun or cool at the moment because you and your friends like to go out in university every Friday and Saturday night. But if you have an older brother, sibling, cousin, ask them questions. Hey, what made you find your wife? What made you, become a cool person, mature, and all that stuff? When you do that, you learn the lessons. And guess what? You're following the footsteps of the predecessors upon righteousness, not upon egoism, not upon arrogance or ignorance. And guess what? You actually end up on the good side. You found the one, as opposed to trying to chase millions of girls who's only going to waste your time and break your heart, because what you have will never, ever, ever fill their hole, which is their heart, because it's cold, it's turned off. It's not wanting for someone at the moment. It's wanting for something, which is a material item. So know the difference between the two. And once you can do that, alhamdulillah, you live the best life.
Let's do this.
MashaAllah, bro. I'm going to give you a hand of applause for that. You deserve it, bro. But I'll say one thing just to add on to what you said. The reason why I asked that is because if you think of like social media influencers, or I guess like musicians, when they're like, for example, we all listen to these, to me at least, like Drake and like all these big pop artists like Future. Obviously, we listen to their music. A lot of their music do.
Future?
Drake and Future are rappers who are, big in like the rap.
I don't know about
basically
Future being
my
a
point
rapper.
is
That seems like you're kind of pushing it. He's a performer at best.
Future, he's a motivational speaker on how to deal with women.
Yeah, he does a good job at that. You're right.
So I guess very true, and I guess you said my point. Essentially, like regardless of who they are as people, their music, a lot of the time, most of the time, actually talks about like negative stuff about women and like how they should be like when what's that line about Future on TikTok? It's like, if she catch me cheating, I will never tell her sorry. So obviously stuff like that is like guys say like, yo, I'm gonna do what Future does, right? But realistically speaking, you are not Future, you are not Drake. Like, these guys could, with all due respect, this sounds bad. This sounds bad, but they could probably get away with it, and that sounds bad. But you have to look out for yourself. Like, don't do stuff. If you're a guy and you're listening to this, if you're from 18 to 25 years old, you gotta be you. You honestly gotta be you. Like, you come and listen. You're like, yo, this girl likes me, bro. Just be you, because girls can see right through you. They're gonna be like, you're not you. Like,
That's actually,
isn't it true? Girls, like,
that's actually a very
You
good
don't got
point.
the money. You don't got the looks. You don't got the clique.
You really don't have the facilities. If
The
you will.
ambiance.
Yeah.
Of Mr. Future.
And now it's actually a very good point. Like, I think that's very troubling when men are like, I'm gonna do what this artist says that he does. First of all, you don't know what this artist is doing. Second of all, he's an artist for a reason. Like, he is where he is, and I think that, like, women that agree to have whatever relationships they may with him, there's clearly an agreement here.
There's also a benefit for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you offering?
Yeah,
here?
what are you giving us, Drew from Oakville? If you, like, you know?
Your charisma? What is it?
Yeah, your charisma and your sense of humor.
From Oakville.
Yeah, all the Drews in Oakville. But I think there has to be just the realization of, as Mo said earlier, is that we are individuals. We don't, like, identifying people with their gender identity and nothing else is really alarming.
There's no self-awareness.
There's like do you not know how humans function? Do you not know that we come with different characteristics? Whether you are whatever gender that you identify with, it's very odd to just be like, I'm gonna live my life based on these set of rules, and that's it. And I'm gonna also implement these set of rules on you,
Even if I hate them.
yeah. I'm gonna hate my life, and you have to hate it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing that should be noted is that when you grow up, obviously it's like you have a mix of friends, different personalities and stuff. And when you go on different settings and environments, you kind of see your friends under different like terms and situations, so you know how this friend reacts. And doing that, it's like, okay, if I know my friend, if someone steps on his shoe, says something bad, he's gonna snap. And it's like, okay, I gotta do the best thing to defend him and defend all of us. The problem is when your friend has that same approach towards women, that's when it's like, you know what, do I still stay friends with this person despite us being boys for the past 5 or 10 years? And it's tough. I had to make that choice personally, like around the age of 22, 23, because I've seen at least 2 to 3 people during tense moments snap at women as if they're a guy. And it's like, man, what's wrong with you? And you're talking to him after, it's like, no, she was on this, she was on that, she was on this type of time. She's a woman. I'm not going to be a part of the situation. Anything goes down, your life is over. So you have to think twice. But some people just don't have that awareness, you know, because it's so in the moment. They have a reactive standpoint as opposed to having a response mechanism. So I would tell guys, if you're around people who are toxic to the point where they don't know how to respect women in a private or personal setting, do not be around that person as much as you like to, just for your own safety.
I want to share the advice that you gave me when I was talking to the last girl I was talking to. I remember you told me this, and I'm gonna share it with the people. Remember you said when like we broke everything off, you said to me, be the guy that you said you were, as opposed to don't show the guy that she doesn't want you to see. So I remember when I sent that message to her, and I'm like, yo, like, it's okay, I hope you're good. Like, because she thought I was mad and upset that like we broke it off. And I remember like you said, don't be that asshole. He's like, text and be authentic with her, right? A lot of the times when that situation happens, guys almost feel attacked as opposed to like feeling empathetic for that person, because sometimes you don't know. Like, it's not always you because what you did. Sometimes it's for them. Like, they need that time to like reflect. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, had I texted something stupid and dumb, that means I was a liar the whole throughout our text messages, like our calls, and like talking about whatever.
Right.
But yeah, but even though I didn't need that advice, but when you said that to me, because I remember like you saw I was like down and under, I was like, bro, we couldn't even film that day. You gave me that advice, and that advice helped, because obviously now, whether she's with me or with someone else, she's gonna see that there are good guys out there. And unfortunately, for a lot of women, they see a lot of guys who are like, they see bad images. That's why like that the term "men is trash" triggers me. But do I understand? Like, I like boys are trash, because see, I'm a good individual, man. Like I'm good. Do I understand why girls say this? I do, because of certain guys and like how they react. They're like, if every guy is like you, like this world is over.
What do you guys think about that? The term "man is trash."
I'm indifferent to it. It's not like I use it in my daily life, but at the same time, like, I think if somebody wants to say it, then it is what it is. I don't know.
I have very strong feelings about that phrase. Do you guys know where it originated?
No.
I actually do not know where it originated.
It originated in South Africa. South Africa has one of the worst stats of violence against women. And what happened was, in a particular year, there were so many horrendous incidents. And when I'm talking about incidents, I'm talking about, this is awful to say, but things like lynching of like pregnant women. And it has one of the highest sexual assault rates in the world, if not the highest. So violence against women is very, very, very like
Prominent over there?
not just prominent, almost like normalized.
Encouraged?
Yeah, like they really have been suffering. And this one year, there was a particular case where a pregnant woman was horrendously murdered, and I think he burnt her alive. Her ex-boyfriend burned her alive. And what happened is there was this conversation that was being had online by South African women regarding how the local men are like so trash, and because the system was not helping, they've been begging for years to influence harsher laws on violence against women to no avail. And it was like a cry of outrage and absolute just like helplessness of a system that has failed them their entire lives. And that's where it originated. And I think that a lot of things get bastardized when they move out of the West, into the West, excuse me. So I think when it came out here for a while, I was like totally supporting it, because a lot of it was genuine concerns that women had against like a patriarchal system. And of course, sometimes it's said like either facetiously or maybe hyperbolically. So of course it doesn't always apply, but I think that a lot of people attack the term right away and they get really defensive. And it's like, maybe just like let's self-reflect a little bit. Let's not feel so attacked, and let's like maybe ask some questions instead of getting like riled up.
Also, it's like I would judge someone's reaction to it.
Oh,
if
yeah.
somebody like were to say, not that you guys are trash or anything of that sort, but I'm to say, like, if you were to be called that, it's your reaction more than anything that would be concerning. Like how you would take that word. Like if you're gonna rage all of a sudden because of a word, people are called words every day.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They're not always the nicest terms. People have differing opinions, differing, I guess, like perspectives, different life experiences. And if your immediate response every time you hear something you don't like, or that you were attacked, or
you're a bitch.
Yeah. Like, control yourself.
Get a grip, man.
Like, you can't control another person's reactions. You can't control another person's actions or thoughts, but you can control your own self.
Yeah, and your own reactions and your own behavior. Absolutely. I also, like, people are like, a lot of the conversation around men are trash is like, oh, you have a dad and you have a brother. Of course, the idea is that not all men are trash. That's already that should be something that's understood. Of course, every woman on the face of the planet has a man in her life that she loves and adores and is vital to her existence and well-being. Like, that's completely normal. We all came here from a man as well as a woman. So that is like something that's of course implied. When we're talking about men are trash, we're really talking about constant behaviors that we see repeated over and over again in a patriarchal society that is so tiresome that you have nothing more to say than, oh, that's so trash.
Also, it's like, at the end of the day, it's not like we have any actions necessarily to back it up. Like, we're still kind of like...
We're still dealing with it.
We're still dealing with it. If this is our only way of, I don't want to say fighting back.
Venting, maybe.
But venting, like, after dealing with, you know...
the bullshit.
Bullshit and violence and just
numerous other crimes against women. This seems like a pretty, it's pretty.
This is minor compared to everything else.
It's pretty mild.
I like how you said the reaction, because I think that's one thing that differentiates, I guess, a guy from a man. You're both the first people. Mo, you can agree with this. Like, we've had girls say like that's term, but they never explain it. But you guys went in like, I had no idea it came from South Africa, by the way. That was the first time I've ever heard
historical context matters.
Like, historical context exactly matters. And obviously you guys explained it, but for me, I think a lot of guys, when they hear men are trash, I think we're all guilty of it at one point, specifically myself. We just become defensive because as if we think, oh, like this girl says that means that like because people and guys in their head think that they have a chance with every single girl because they have that mindset like, wow, she said men are trash, man, this girl's toxic, this girl's this girl hates life. But it's just because unfortunately there's a lot of guys who are stupid and dumb. I remember I was making a joke because like there was one girl who I wanted, unfortunately it never happened, but thank God it didn't happen. But because like things didn't end up happening. Not because she's bad.
You really don't have
but I remember,
to go into it. You really don't have to go into it.
No, but
man.
I just had to explain because I really had to explain. But long
therapy
story short,
session right now.
Therapy session. Yo, Waze is a therapy session, bro. Listen, you come on here, you get like it's like the barbershop.
It really is.
But anyways, I remember like she was saying to me, yo, Arabs are trash. In my head, I understood. I'm like, you know what? Agreed. Because I know Arabs are toxic. I'm like, I'm not sure what this Arab guy did to you, but look, I agreed.
But you could probably already like picture the pattern. Because a lot of like Arab men have a pattern, don't you agree on that?
Yeah.
And it is trash.
Yeah, they don't know. They
They really don't know how to act.
Arab men. Yeah, this is why I don't have a lot of Arab friends. Like my closest friend happens to be this guy. I've known him since I was 6 years old.
No.
Like my closest
But
friend.
hold on, son. Let me say this. The thing is, that pattern, like you said, which is true, and like obviously it's like that lineage, that thread still exists to this day. I've seen this man go through like sufferings because before he could even introduce himself, let him know like what he is, his stance, and his position, he's automatically put in this box of being trash based on that pattern. And it's unfair because it was one thing to have that pattern because obviously it's so synonymous in society. But if someone is indifferent, who's actually about morals, intelligence, shared opinions, shared community, he acknowledges that he came from a mother, he came from a woman. So he's not going to come into this world thinking as if he owns everything and everything in this world is made up because of men. If someone has that idea and understanding and that insight, it's always sad when you see people put them in a box or assumption based on their previous experiences because of that thread and that pattern. So it's unfortunate when people like Osama and guys like that go through that because we've seen Arab men that we know be put in that box. You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna become like the rest of them because you guys won't give me a chance.
Like,
you know,
who are the
so
people that you're associating with? Because, for example, like
that's very true. Yeah.
I would hope that the women who do have that type of mentality, that they're not necessarily generalizing. I feel like a lot of, or at least I'll talk about like my personal experience in my friend group. Like if we were ever to say that, it's very well established that we're not implying that all Arab men are trash. All men are trash. You know what I mean? So if you're talking to somebody that's like, they're so like, what's the word? Adamant on this category of men, then maybe that's...
You don't need them.
You don't need them. That's a them problem. You don't have to... You can also have a conversation.
Of course. Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Just like you're explaining to us now, I feel like two mature adults can have these conversations, and I think it's a very realistic outcome to admit, like, okay, there's some good and there are some bad.
Absolutely.
So...
There's some bad apples. But to be quite honest with you, the thing is for me, I like Arabs, the reason why I don't talk to them is because a lot of them have this back home mindset, and me being born here, like again, like they take the bad stuff from back home. Like, bro, why is this mentality here? Like you've been in Canada for so long, bro, change up. Like for example, they still live in this Bab al Hara mindset. For all the non-Arab viewers, like some popular Arabic show. But in my head, I'm like, yo, you have to...
The door of the neighborhood.
The door of the neighborhood.
It's called the door of the neighborhood.
In translation, yeah. But like for me, I just said earlier, like how I consider Mo, like I've known him since I was 6, and I've learned so much from him. Like just seeing him go through his marriage process, like I learned so much. I remember now, even when I was there, at the time, I was like watching him like go through it, get married, and like do all this kind of stuff. But the thing is, a lot of the times people have to take away the bad parts of their culture and try to put in the good parts and say, yo, like I want someone who values me. Going back to what Mo said about like girls having their own group chats. Yeah, I told one of my friends, I'm like, you got to be careful what you say, because girls do get opinions from their friends if you are really serious. So if you say anything stupid or dumb, like that's everyone is gonna backfire, and it goes vice versa. I think people have to be very cautious of what they say now, specifically with social media. You can screenshot stuff, you can like send stuff. Like yo, like look at 6buzz, bro. People are getting exposed on 6buzz. Look at these celebrities because they're disrespecting women. Now they're getting called out. So in my head, I'm like, you're not at a time where this sounds bad. You can get away with it. You can not get away with anything no more. Like for example, Mohammed, you said this. 20 episodes down the road, we can hit a blow up episode and someone's gonna be like, yo, episode 5, Mo said this, like how dare you? So obviously you have those people who are gonna be like judgmental. You gotta be really cautious of what you say. And yeah, that's all I had to say. But
educate yourself.
Facts.
Education is key.
Education is key.
It's key.
Yeah.
Education is key, bro. That's why when you didn't educate yourself about Windsor, I was like, come on, bro. You educate yourself. This guy was like, is it -30 down there?
There really isn't much to learn, to be frank.
No,
There's not much to it.
There's like what 300,000 people. That's all you gotta know.
Until I saw that story, I didn't think it was the Tim Hortons in Windsor.
Yo, what do you
We don't live in the Badoons, or what are they called?
I think we're living in Butthole, Alabama.
Yeah.
We're a border city. What do you mean?
I thought it was like -40 in the winter. Like,
Yo,
I had
Windsor
no
is
idea.
nice,
We're
bro.
more
Like,
south than you guys.
Mo, your logic, I'm not gonna lie to you right now. You were doing so well up until the Windsor roasting, because you're not doing well, my dude.
I
was
told
good
him
at
that.
geography in class.
You know why? Listen, remember that time when me and you went to Sarnia? Because Sarnia got to take the 402. That's like more north. Like London's more north. Windsor's on the 401.
yeah, I
It's
remember
more
that.
south
Yeah.
because the border's Detroit. And this guy was like, yo, is it no Tim Hortons? I laughed. But I do want to thank you guys for coming on. We had
Thank
an amazing
you guys
conversation.
for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been actually really fun, and it's
Yeah,
been
we had
really
a good
enlightening.
time.
Yeah, and it's actually nice to like get
Get a different perspective.
Yes, it's very good that you don't have an echo chamber. You know, that you reach out and have conversations with people across the pond. It's or 3 hours away in our case.
Yeah.
It's nice. I think.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Mo,
appreciate it.
You're welcome. Honestly, I had a great time talking to you guys. Obviously, like I know what to call this episode, by the way. I'm going to call it Menace Trash. I'm trying to get all the guys to hear it.
Oh my god,
You're being
clickbait.
controversial.
Honestly, the thing is, I like having controversial titles because one, it makes the person think it's like, why did they say that, or like, I want to hear why they said that. So it's almost
we
as
should
if
do
like, you
that.
put
Yeah,
a
we
question
really
in their
should.
mind.
Yeah, our next topic is World War III.
Just straight. Scare the shit out of people. No, but we really are thankful for the conversation.
I just want to say thank you so much for both of you guys coming on. We enjoyed the conversation. I think most people can take away just, the perspective you guys gave, and knowing that if you're a man and you think that I can't get anywhere, hearing both of your thoughts. Just a duality.
Just be a normal guy.
Just please be normal.
That's all we're asking.
Just be a normal guy.
Please.
The reason why I laughed because Osama said the Russell Peter jokes. But once again, thank you so much. And any last words to everyone that you want to talk to as far as getting your
Follow
message
us
across?
at Expired
yeah.
Musings on Facebook.
Oh my god, y'all! I made a Facebook, and just all that I'm like, please stop pushing the Facebook. No, please follow.
Follow them, guys.
No, not on Facebook. No, stop.
I haven't posted a single post on there.
Please follow us on Instagram at Expired Musings Podcast, and we also have a YouTube channel, Expired Musings Podcast, and I think we're kind of like
We're fun.
funny. Yeah, we're cool gals.
I think so.
You guys thought we were done? I don't think so. We still gotta wrap it up. Please follow me at Kusa300. Follow my co-host Mohammed at Mohammed.global. Make sure to follow our page at Instagram. Also, make sure to subscribe to all our platforms. We drop every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Thank you. We'll see you next week.